So here we find ourselves once again then. You've tuned in for another BoomBox video, and what we got up in front of the camera in this one is it's a JVC. It's a PC-W150. Okay, a bit of a big one this, but it's one of these ones where I wouldn't refer to it as a big empty, but basically speaking, it's for the features and functions on it and the size of the speakers, it is quite sizable. And I've also got this thing on here called a super bass horn, and I don't really know where the bass horn is. Okay, unless it's those like funny little slots down either side of the speakers. But we should go into that soon and have a flipping good look around and see if we can identify where the bass horns are. I don't really think they're bass horns. I think, really speaking, they're like just bass reflex holes, but they just decided to try and be a bit more technical and call them horns. Okay, they're not really horns. Right, straight off then from the front, you can see we've got two tape decks to play with. If I'll zoom this back a bit, there it is. There's the whole unit. Okay, that plug in the wall socket is for the camera. It's not for the boombox. Okay, I was going to start this video going, but I had about 4 minutes left on the battery and it would have cranked out, so I had to go and get the mains adapter instead. Okay, there's the battery. So yeah, it's not on the camera at the moment. So JVC boombox then. Like I say, we've got a couple of tape decks on this one in the mid, in the centre there, in the centre unit, and then right in between that, straight off the back, then we've got a 5-band graphic equaliser, so you can slice and dice the sound with it whichever way takes your fancy. I'll set it up like that so it's in a bit of a V shape, just for, you know, visual effect. Okay, you probably could listen to the music with it set like that, but you know, you can change it and chop it whichever way takes your fancy. Now, normally speaking, with a lot of what's the thing I'm looking for? Graphic equalisers like that. The left hand one is like for your bass, the right hand one is for your treble, the one slap in the middle is your mid range, and then you've got the other two to give it a bit more variation. Okay, at least with this one you can give it a bit more variation, whereas with the 3-band graphic equaliser you've got your bass and mid range and your treble, and that's your lots. With this one then you've got 5 bands, okay, so you've got a bit more variation going on there. The tape decks, they're pretty standard. Okay, if I just bring this along a bit, there it goes, bring it down, creaky tripod, do excuse that. As you can see then, we've got standard buttons on there. We've got record, play, rewind, fast forward, stop and eject and pause. Okay, just moving along a bit, just coming in then from the right, it says relay play on there. And you can see that little gold line which runs from the play button on deck A over to the play button on deck B. Okay. Oh, and it goes to pause as well. I'll show you what that's for in a moment or two once I've described the other tape deck. Now, the interesting thing is the other tape deck's only got 4 buttons on it. It's normally got 5. Okay, we've got play, rewind, fast forward and stop and eject. Okay, where's the pause button then? Well, it seems that they didn't put one on there. Okay, you just got 4 buttons on there. They didn't bother with a pause button on that. You clearly couldn't be bothered. And there we are, and there we have it. So, just a standard tape deck there. What I will say on this though, okay, for playback only, you can... what's the thing I'm looking for? You've got a three-way tape type selector. If I just tilt this up a bit, right there, I'm going to get this to behave. I don't know why, but it sort of goes a bit funny sometimes, that zoom. Instead of being smooth like that and bringing it back, it sort of goes a bit cranky. So, as you can see then, right there, we've got a button where you can press it in. When it's popped out, it's on normal, but when you press it in, it's for either metal or chrome cassette. Okay, and that's for playback only. Okay, so you press that in, it's on metal or chrome, and when you pop it out, it's for normal. Okay, so it does have that option where you can set up the tape deck to play back a particular tape type. Okay, tuning then. 4-band actually, 4-band radio on this one. We've got FM up the top, shortwave. Okay, then we've got medium wave, which is the same as AM, and then long wave all the way down the bottom. Okay, somewhere in between all that lots, it says on there FM stereo. Okay, there's a little light there, and then when you turn the power on, there's another little light there as well. Okay, just to make it look nice and flashy. There's a scale there. Okay. Right about there, you've got the tuning, this little wheel. Okay, when you turn that, there's a piece of string in there which pulls that little pointer backwards and forwards, and then that piece of string disappears down the back somewhere and links up to something electronical, and it's that which does all the tuning. Moving along a bit then, we've got that control, fine tuning. What that is for is when you're tuned into shortwave. Okay, there's certain radio stations which, as you go up and down the scale, if they sound a bit sort of distant or out a bit, you can tweak that and it sort of plays around with the tuning a little bit and sharpens it up. Okay, and similarly, what's the thing I'm looking for in shortwave? Well, if you've got that turned right up one end, okay. Oh, this is one of these ones where you can just continuously turn it. On some of these, you can turn it about 3 times and it hits a limit. And then you've got to turn it 3 times back the other way and it hits another limit. On this one, it's one of these ones where you can just continuously turn it. But what I will say, in certain positions on that, you'll pick up certain stations and you can go up and down the range and not find the station you want. But if you go up and down the range and slowly turn that, go up and down the range again, turn it a bit more, go up and down the range and turn it a bit more, eventually you'll find that the station pops up. Okay, that is a bit weird that. I have had a little play with shortwave, and if you've got a fine tuning control on the radio like that, it does help. I'm going to pick the camera up now because you're probably wondering, you've seen the front of it and all that, like where the volume control is, your function selector and all that. Well, it's on the top. Okay, I've got to be careful here because the camera's plugged in the wall socket and we haven't got a battery on the back of it, so if the plug drops out, it's going to wreck the flipping memory card. So, there's our, on the top then, our controls on the top. Nice big fat volume control. Okay, let me just bring this forward a bit. So there we are, volume control. Now the interesting thing about this volume control, instead of going from 1 to 10, it actually goes from 1 to 19 on there. There you go. See, from 1 all the way up to 19. Okay, this is one of these controls as well, where it's what I call a proper volume control. It's not one of these ones where you can turn it and turn it and turn it. Okay, it's like a direct action. So if you got it there and you've got the music playing, if you suddenly whipped it up like that, it goes really loud all of a sudden. Okay, it's a proper volume control. Not one of these funny rotary flipping bits of mambo jambo. Okay, it's a proper volume control. That there then, we got the function selector. And I'm going to have to fire the camera straight down for this because it's a bit, the way they've set this up is a bit cranky. So, what we got then, there you go, I'm firing the camera straight down at it. There it is. Right up the top then, like that, you got your line in. Thankfully, this is not one of these boomboxes where it's push record for auxiliary. With such a boombox, to get any sound from the line inputs, you've got to put a cassette in and press record, and that really does tick me right off. Not with this one, we do actually have a dedicated line in function. If you slide this down a bit more, it says tuner, that's your radio, okay, regardless of what band it is. And then, when you want to listen to tape, you've actually got to click this 2 places, like that, all the way down the bottom. And the one right the way down the bottom is your normal speed for cassette and high speed. Okay, so if you noticed, it says on here the CD and then tuner, and then for these two, it's the tape or dubbing. Okay, so you've got your function there. And then moving along, we've got the band for the radio. Right up the top as well, keep it because that's FM. Short wave explains itself. Medium wave is the same as AM. And then right down the bottom, we've got long wave. Okay, so I'll select that right up the top for FM, which is where I'll keep it because most of the radio stations I listen to are on FM anyway. So there we go. If I zoom that right out, you can see how deep this box is. Okay, it's rather basic in function. Double cassette, 5-band graphic equaliser, line input, nothing really much to shout about. If I tip this, well, not tip it up, I'll just aim the camera down. There's a silly little speaker in there. Okay, there it is. A silly little speaker, not too big at all. And I've got a feeling that in there is that thing which JVC are referring to as the bass horn. Chances are it's just a bass reflex hole. Okay, there you go, and it says it down there, look. Super bass horn. Yeah, okay then. Oh, and look, there's a power button there for turning it on and off. So there it is then. Little basic, well, not so much little, but it is a basic boombox. Okay, it's just, well, if you think about it, all the functionality, I mean the mechanics of it, you fit it into a box that big, chances are 60% of that box is going to be empty. There's nothing in there. It is, you know, reasonably weighty. So, yes. But if you think 2 tape deck mechanisms in there, they only take up about that much depth in there, right? Because you think about the depth of a Walkman, it's not that, is it? So you've got 2 of those in there, a little bit of electronics for that graphic equaliser and all that. You've got these sliders on the top, they're probably that depth down from the top. And the rest of it's just empty in there. And there'll be a little space at the back for a transformer, reduce the mains voltage. And, well, you've got silly little speakers like that in that box. They're not going to take up too much space either. So the rest of it's just empty in there. And that is quite depth, as you can see. So, oh, if you're wondering what that wire is, these are detachable. It's a 3-piece unit. And you plug those wires in the back. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to see that in a moment or two. I'm just going to set the camera down, turn everything around, and then we'll have a look at the specifications on the back, line ins and outputs and all of that stuff. Okay, let me just set the camera down then and we'll get into that. Okay, there's the camera then. Just bear with me a moment. Okay then, we're back after the break and straight in with the specifications on the back of it then. Okay, it's a JVC portable component system, model number PVC-W150. We got all the details there, and there's even got a couple of other numbers there for the main unit and the speaker system, okay, right about there. Okay, PCRW150 is for the main unit. It says cassette receiver, and then PC-BW150K is for the speaker system. Well, we don't really need to know that, do we? But there it is, they put it on there anyway because they're trying to be technical. Yes, I'm not sure why, but on here the model number's a bit different. Okay, on the front it says PCW150, but on this they put PCRW150. Okay, quite why that is, I don't know. There seems to be a serial number there just embossed in, but it's not very clear. Oh yeah, there it is. 220 to 240 volts then, AC 50 Hertz or 60 Hertz, 20 watts. Okay, for this one. Or you can put it on 12 volts DC, which would consist of 8 D cells. Okay. And then they've put on their caution, risk of electric shock, do not open. And they've even put it into, moulded it into the back of the case right there. Okay, I do believe that's in English right up the top. I think that's French and then German or something like that. What on earth is that long word? My goodness me, how on earth do you pronounce that? Anyway, moving on. That's Germany for you. Okay, that's how languages vary around the world, but my goodness me, how many letters are in that? Get on the comments box. Moving along then, interestingly, the weird thing about this box is that the back of it's really curved, so I've had to tip it right over, which is probably why that AC socket looks like it's firing right up in the air, mainly because it is. I had to tip the box over that much to get that specification plate up in front of the camera. So as you can see then, that is a figure of 8 jack on the back of there. You put the plug in. Inside there, not up at the top here, but down the bottom, there's a little switch in there. And what that's for is when you put the plug in, it presses that switch in and converts the boombox over to mains power. Okay, but when you pull that plug out, that switch is supposed to release and convert the boombox over to batteries. And what sometimes happens is that switch stays stuck in. And if you've put new batteries in and you take that plug out, you think, well, why is it not working? Little top tip, get a screwdriver or something and press it in there a few times and just, act on that switch and you'll find it might release it and then your boombox works on batteries. Okay. I'm going to set the box down now. Let me zoom this out. It looks right over like that because the back of it's curved. Right, let's put it right up to the wall then, and we can zoom in on all those little jacks assemblies at the back. Keeping in mind that 4 of them are for these wires. Okay. I used to have elastic bands around those, but they snapped. Interestingly, on the back of those speakers, they don't give you anywhere to store all the power, all the extra wires. But you see these whopping great holes here, where I've got my fingers in. It's handy just to roll all that up and stuff it in there. Maybe that's what that hole is for. Okay, stuff it all in there. I should do the same with the other one, actually. There we are. Stuff all the wire in there. That's probably what that hole is for. So you can store the excess wire in there. The interesting thing is all that wire won't stay in there when you detach the speaker. Right, that's that sorted out then. So, all these jacks along here. We'll start with those. There they are. Obviously, you connect your speakers in there, then wires I was saying about. These, okay, you connect those in there. Your red ones are your positives, and your black ones are your negatives. Okay, these two would be for the left speaker, and these two would be for the right speaker. Okay, obviously speaking, the right speaker's over there, and the left speaker is over there. Don't forget, we're looking at the back of the boombox, so everything's round the other way. That switch next to that then is one of those funny flipping switches where it's sometimes referred to as beat cut, beat cancel, riff, or whatever. With this one you've got 3 options, option 1, 2 and 3, and it also doubles as an FM mode as well. When it's all the way over where I've currently set it, it's in stereo, but if you put it on the middle one or all the way over there, then even if you tuned into FM stereo, the sound comes out in mono. That's no good, which is why I've left it on that function. The idea of a beat cut is basically, I can't remember if it's when you're tuning into FM or AM, but I have heard people say that sometimes the interference sounds a bit like a beating sound on the audio broadcast, which is why that switch is called a beat cut. Okay, it's supposed to reduce or cancel out that beating sound. And if you do get that, then adjusting that switch is either supposed to reduce or cancel out that beating sound. Okay, so there we are, that's what that switch is for. Moving along a bit then, yeah, we got those line inputs. They've marked them as CD in, but you can put anything in there as long as it's line level. Okay, red is right and your left is white. Interestingly, there's a little jack next to that. It says microphone on it. Okay, 3.5mm by the look of that. I don't know if that's mono or stereo jack. It's probably a mono jack. Okay, because you can only plug one microphone in there. Okay. Interestingly, if you want looking for the headphone jack, it's just up there a bit. Okay, remember those? Okay, if you look just up a bit, see that little part that's been carved out? That, what looks like a button, is actually your headphone jack up there. 3.5mm. Okay, that is so you can reach it from the front. Okay, you have your cord coming at the top here. Okay, so you can reach it from the front. 3.5mm little stereo jack on there, so you can plug your headphones in from your pod thing. Or if you wanted to put in a proper set of hi-fi headphones, you do need to put an adapter in there to increase the size of that up to 6.1mm. Okay, so that basically covers the back of a boombox which is curved in shape, which is a little odd. We're 20 minutes into the allocated 30 minutes for a boombox video. Let me pull that zoom back, and I shall show you when I turn that boombox around that the back of it's curved. Right, you can look, it's flipping curved. So you can see why I had to tip that right over in order to get that specification plate up in front of the camera. Okay, bit of an odd one, that. And again, if I pull this camera back further, even more so, you can see from the front to the back how deep that is. It's quite a bit, given that it is just a, you know, functionality-wise, it's just an L basic boombox. It is quite a deep box. What should we do next? I've done the front, done the back. I say it's measurement time. Let's turn it around then. Right, there's no jacks and things down the sides, so we're going to go for overall width with the tape measure. Tape measure. Oh dear, where did that go? Let's go again. I accidentally pressed the release button. Not having it. Bit more. Right then, that's quite wide at 26 inch. Okay, so you can see the tape measure all the way down there. Like that. And if I bring it all the way along. There you go, 26 inch then. Or that would be 670mm. Or 660 actually. 660mm. Okay, just where it says 26 inch. Now, because this has got controls on the top of it, I'm not going to do two height measurements. Okay, you're obviously going to need the handle up to reach in there for the controls. Okay, so you wouldn't want to put this under a shelf and have the shelf where my finger is, because you wouldn't be able to get in there for the controls. And not only that, you'd need to reach around the back for the antenna, and so you can put your headphone plug in. Okay, which is, it's just down the back there a bit. So one measurement for the height then with the handle up. We are looking at then for this JVC PCW150, call it 11 inch, or that would be 280mm. Okay, the depth of this box then, which is quite excessive, given that it is just an L basic function boombox. Right, let's put the antenna away before I end up snapping that off. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bit on, because if you've got jack plugs in the back of that for the audio line input, you're going to need to take a bit into account. They've allowed a bit on there already, if I'll just bring the camera around here. Look, they've allowed that bit already, so I'm not going to add too much on. Maybe just about that much added onto the overall measurement. Okay. So, overall depth then, keeping in mind that the front of this is curved, look at that. Okay, it sort of curves around in that sort of way. So I'm going to take the overall depth measurement from the middle then. And we would be looking at, do excuse my shadow, I would call that, adding a bit on for the jack plugs at the back. Call it 10 inch. Okay, 10 inch or 255mm. Okay, so that basically wraps that one up then, with about 5 minutes to spare on the allocated 30 minutes for a BoomBox video. Well, it's about 25 minutes now, raw footage, but by the time I get an intro on it, an outro and a little interlude in the middle for the break, I think it's getting close to about 30 minutes. I would like to say thanks for tuning in, for watching that one. Okay, it's been another Wayne's Electrical production, another BoomBox video. Okay, 1920 by 1080p of course, with stereo sound on the camera. On another month, we're going to be examining another BoomBox. We dig out another BoomBox, get it up in front of the camera, talk about all its features, functions, specification plates, lines in, lines out, headphone sockets, dimensions of it, and all that lot. And yeah, and just enjoy the overall look at the BoomBox, I suppose. Right, I've got to go because we're due in to hit the 30-minute time limit. Okay, and there we go. I know in one video I was explaining something and I overrun by 5 minutes. So, taking into account that this one is now 26 minutes raw footage, and the other one was about 35 minutes, which was 5 minutes over. One will sort of cancel out the other in reference to overall archive footage size on the hard drive. So before it gets any more, I'm out of here. But before you go, one of those please. Okay, thumb up on your viewing. And of course, if you want to, press the subscribe button for more BoomBoxes and any other video that comes up on my channel for that matter. And there we go. Yes, high definition Wayne's Electrical production then. More BoomBoxes later on other months. Thanks for watching this one then.